It's late 1970s. The arena is packed. 20,000 people. The lights are flashing. The band is tight. Elvis Presley, wrapped in a white jumpsuit with a cape flowing behind him, is halfway through an American trilogy. His patriotic showstopper, the song that always brings the house down. The horns are blaring. The backup singers are swaying. The crowd is on their feet. And then, mid-verse, Elvis stops singing. He raises his hand. The band falls silent. The arena goes quiet. 20,000 people stop breathing. Elvis is staring at someone in the crowd. A man in a wheelchair. A veteran, missing a leg. And what happens next becomes the story that fans will tell for decades. This is the night Elvis Presley stopped a concert, put a spotlight on a broken soldier, and reminded 20,000 people what a real hero looks like. To understand what happened that night, you have to understand who Elvis was after the army. He wasn't just a singer who happened to serve. He was a man who'd been changed by it. In 1958, at the height of his fame, Elvis Presley was drafted. He didn't ask for special treatment. He didn't hide behind his celebrity. He went in as a private. He did his time in Germany. He slept in barracks. He drove trucks. He was just another GI. And when he came home in 1960, something was different. He never forgot what it meant to wear that uniform. Throughout the 1970s, when Elvis was doing his massive arena tours, Vegas, then stadiums across the country, he made a habit of honoring veterans. He'd dedicate songs to them. He'd spot men in uniform in the crowd and point them out. He'd send scarves down to guys in wheelchairs. His band members and friends all said the same thing. Elvis had a soft spot for soldiers, especially the ones who came back broken. So on this night, and fans tell different versions of when and where, but the heart of the story stays the same. Elvis is on stage in a packed arena. The crowd is electric. He's in the middle of an American trilogy, the song he always used as his patriotic centerpiece. It's a medley of Civil War songs. Dixie, Battle Hymn of the Republic, All My Trials, woven together into something that feels like a prayer for America. He sings it with everything he has. The horns swell. The lights sweep across the audience. And that's when he sees him. Down in the lower section, not far from the stage, there's a man in a wheelchair. Mid-30s, maybe early 40s. He's wearing a faded jacket, and he's missing a leg. Vietnam, probably. Elvis can tell just by looking at him. The way he's sitting, the way he's staring at the floor instead of the stage, the way he looks like he wishes he wasn't there. According to the stories that spread after that night, the veteran hadn't wanted to come. His friends had dragged him out. He'd been holed up at home for months, maybe years, drowning in survivors' guilt and shame. He felt like half a man. He felt forgotten. He felt like the country he'd fought for didn't care, that he'd left part of himself on a battlefield halfway around the world. His buddies thought maybe a concert, Elvis, the king, might snap him out of it. So they bought tickets. They got him in the car. They rolled him down to his seat. And now he's sitting there in the dark, surrounded by 20,000 people having the time of their lives, and he just wants to disappear. But Elvis sees him. Mid-song, mid-verse, Elvis stops singing. He raises his hand to the band. They stop playing. The horns cut off. The drums go silent. The backup singers freeze. The entire arena, 20,000 people, suddenly goes quiet. Confused. Wondering what's happening. Wondering if something's wrong. Elvis steps to the edge of the stage. He's looking down into the crowd. He points. "Put a light on him," he says to the lighting guy. "Right there." The spotlight swings across the audience and lands on the man in the wheelchair. The veteran blinks, blinded by the sudden light. He tries to shrink down in his seat. He doesn't want this. He doesn't want to be seen. But Elvis won't let him hide. "Ladies and gentlemen," Elvis says, his voice echoing through the silent arena. "That man right there, that's a real hero. The crowd doesn't know what to do yet. Some people start clapping, tentative, uncertain. Elvis raises his hand again. No, wait, listen to me. The arena goes silent again. Elvis is still staring at the veteran, and now there are tears in Elvis's eyes. That man, Elvis says, his voice breaking slightly, left part of himself on a battlefield so every single one of you could stand here tonight. He fought for this country. He bled for this country. And he came home to a country that didn't even say thank you. The arena is dead silent now. You could hear a pin drop. So I'm telling you right now, Elvis says, louder, stronger, don't you dare feel sorry for him. You stand up for him because he already stood up for you. And then it happens. One person stands, then another, then a whole section, and then, like a wave, the entire arena rises to its feet. 20,000 people, standing, clapping. Some of them are crying. Some of them are saluting. Some of them are just standing there, with their hands over their hearts, staring at this one man in a wheelchair who didn't want to be noticed. The veteran is overwhelmed. He's trying to wave the attention away, embarrassed, his face red, but the ovation keeps going. Louder and louder. Elvis is standing on the edge of the stage, clapping along with them, tears streaming down his face. He doesn't wipe them away. He just stands there, looking at this man, honoring him the only way he knows how, by making 20,000 people see him. The ovation goes on for what feels like forever. No music. No band. Just the sound of people clapping, cheering, crying. And then, finally, Elvis raises his hand one more time. The crowd quiets. He turns back to the band and nods. This one's for him, Elvis says quietly, and for every man and woman who ever put on a uniform. The band starts playing again, an American trilogy. But this time, Elvis sings it differently. This time, every word feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds. This time, it's not a performance. It's a tribute. The cameras, because someone's always filming Elvis, catch women in the audience sobbing. They catch men with tears running down their faces. They catch veterans in the crowd, standing at attention, saluting. And they catch the man in the wheelchair, his head bowed, his shoulders shaking, finally letting himself cry. When the song ends, the arena explodes, the loudest applause of the night. Elvis takes a bow, wipes his face, and walks off stage. And according to people who were there that night, backstage, Elvis was quiet, shaken. He sat down in his dressing room and didn't say much. Finally, one of his guys asked him if he was okay. Elvis just shook his head. "That man gave more than I ever did," he said. "I drove a truck in Germany. He left a leg in Vietnam, and nobody even knows his name." Now, here's the truth about this story. You won't find it in the official Elvis biographies. You won't find a newspaper article from 1977 that says, "Elvis stops concert for one-legged vet." You won't find a verified recording with a timestamp and a venue name. The story has been told and retold by fans, by people who claim they were there, by people who heard it from someone who was there. The details shift. Was it 1975? 1977? Was it in Memphis? Vegas? Was the veteran missing a leg or in a wheelchair or both? The specifics blur. But here's what's real. Elvis Presley did serve in the Army. He did come home with a respect for soldiers that stayed with him for the rest of his life. He did regularly honor veterans during his concerts. He did stop shows to single out men in wheelchairs, men in uniform, men who'd sacrificed, band members, backup singers, people who toured with him. They all confirm it. Elvis had a thing about veterans. He couldn't stand seeing them ignored. So whether this exact moment happened on one specific night in one specific arena, or whether it's a composite of a dozen smaller moments that got woven into legend, the spirit of it is true. This is who Elvis was. This is what he did. And this is why people still tell the story 50 years later. Because in the 1970s, America didn't know how to treat its Vietnam veterans. They came home to protests, to shame, to silence. They were called baby killers. They were spit on. They were told to hide their service, not talk about it, pretend it didn't happen. A lot of them came home broken, physically, mentally, emotionally, and the country turned its back. The parades were for World War II vets. The glory was for the greatest generation. Vietnam vets got nothing but cold shoulders and cold stares. But Elvis didn't forget them. Elvis, who'd served in peacetime, who'd never seen combat, who'd driven trucks and sung songs for the troops in Germany. Elvis knew that putting on the uniform mattered. That answering the call mattered. That sacrifice, whether it was made on a battlefield or in a base hospital or in the long, quiet years after coming home, deserved to be honored. And so, according to the story, on this one night, in this one arena, Elvis Presley used the biggest stage in the world to do what the country wouldn't do. He stopped everything. He put a spotlight on a broken soldier, and he made 20,000 people stand up and see him, really see him, not as a victim, not as a tragedy, but as a hero. The veteran who was there that night, if the story is true, and we'll never know for sure, supposedly said later that it changed his life. That he'd walked into that arena feeling like damaged goods, like less than a man, like the war had taken everything from him. And he walked out feeling seen, honored, valued. For the first time since he'd come home, someone had looked at him and said, "You matter. What you did matters. And we will not forget you." That's the power of the story. That's why it gets told and retold. Not because we can prove it happened exactly this way on this exact date, but because it represents something true about who Elvis was and what he believed. He believed in soldiers. He believed in honoring sacrifice. And he believed that fame, power, and a stage that big came with a responsibility to use it for something that mattered. Elvis Presley died on August 16th, 1977. He was 42 years old. By then, his body was wrecked. Prescription pills, weight swings, heart problems, exhaustion. The Vegas years had taken their toll, but in those final years, on those final tours, when he could barely make it through a full set without needing oxygen backstage, he still stopped to honor veterans. He still sent scarves to guys in wheelchairs. He still dedicated songs to the men who'd fought. And when he died, thousands of veterans showed up to Graceland to pay their respects. Not because Elvis had been a war hero, but because he'd made them feel like they were. So whether this story is legend or truth or something in between, it captures something essential. Elvis Presley stopped a concert mid-song, put a spotlight on a one-legged veteran, and made 20,000 people stand up and honor a man who thought he'd been forgotten. And for that one moment, that one night, one broken soldier felt whole again. That's not just a concert story. That's what real respect looks like. That's what real gratitude looks like. And that's what happens when someone with power decides to use it the right way. Not for applause, not for headlines, but to remind the world that some debts can never be repaid, only honored. Elvis stopped the show. The band went silent. The crowd stood up. And one man in a wheelchair, who'd given everything for his country and gotten nothing in return, finally heard the words he'd been waiting years to hear. "Thank you. You're a hero, and we see you." 20,000 people broke down that night, but one man was healed, and maybe that's all that mattered.